Hello and welcome back to Gardening and Allotments Tips, hosted by Gardening with Ben. And yes, we are in April now, and it's still cold, it's still wet, it's still raining, it's still snowy, and where has this fantastic, beautiful weather gone? We need this heat wave weather back with us. If you've not checked out my other podcast channel called Gardening with Ben, go and check that out. It's got absolutely loads of podcasts on there, over 160 episodes to listen to. And in our latest episode, we are talking about all the seeds to sow in April. So make sure you go and check that out and get some tips and advice from it. And also yesterday we shared a podcast about all the jobs that need doing in the garden in April as well, so that you're ahead of time and you can tick all them jobs off and keep your garden looking fantastic through April and preparing it ready for the year ahead. So go and listen to them two podcasts after you've listened to this one, and make sure you subscribe to that other channel as well so that you can keep up to date with that podcast. And if you've not subscribed to this one, make sure you click that follow button so that you get notified when new podcasts come up, because this one's starting to get more podcasts on a regular basis. So keep on listening. So what are we talking about today? Well, it's the weekend and it's still not very nice weather. So we're going to talk about all the jobs what you can be doing around this time of year in the bad weather. Can you still do gardening in wet and snowy weather? Yes, you can. There's always plenty to be done. So the types of things that you can be doing at this time of year in the garden is, if it is raining, you can obviously spend time in your shed. Everybody loves time in the shed. I know I certainly do. And I've been putting it off quite a lot. I was saving all the jobs for the shed for a rainy day, and it never rained. And every time I went to the plot, it was decent weather. Whenever it's decent weather, I'm always spending it outdoors, because I don't want to waste a good day's weather. And I was thinking, it's going to rain one day while I'm at the allotment. I can spend some time in my shed and get some work done in there. But nope, I've never had the chance to do it until I had to get it all done, because I needed to start sowing all my seeds. So if it is bad weather, which it is at the moment, the jobs that you can do inside your shed at the moment are stuff like, if you're using plant pots and seed trays and buckets to grow in, the best thing to do is get some hot soapy water and start washing them. And why do you need to wash them, you may ask? Well, you don't know if there's any diseases or critters hiding around in these pots that could affect the growth of your new seeds and seedlings. And even if there's any tomato blight still hanging around what's on the pots and stuff like that, they could be all hiding dormant, and then when the warmer weather comes, they could start reproducing and start activating them viruses again, which you don't want, definitely not, because if one plant gets tomato blight, it could easily spread and get the rest of your crop, and you could end up losing all your crops all summer. So it's a good time to be cleaning all them pots down. And while we're talking about the cleaning side of things, one good job to do is, if you've got a greenhouse, is get it all disinfected and get it all cleaned, because again, diseases and critters can be hiding everywhere. Little bugs like to hibernate during the colder winter weather, and they can hide in between the gaps and stuff like that. So what I tend to do is, inside my greenhouse, just get my hose pipe out and just jet wash all inside it and just clean all them windows out. But obviously make sure that the windows are secure before you jet wash it on the inside, because I don't want you blaming me saying that you've jet washed it and the windows flew out or something like that and smashed. So no disclaimers there. So make sure that everything is secure in the windows. If you've got any clips and stuff that need replacing and stuff like that, go out and get some clips and replace them, because again, if we get some bad wind, if we get some really strong winds, it can easily blow out the glass windows and damage your greenhouse, and you certainly don't want that, especially when you're starting to grow all your seeds now. And I usually do this sort of thing with my polytunnel, because I've got a polytunnel and polytunnels are known for just going green and like fungi and stuff like that growing all over them. So it's a good opportunity to get it out and scrub it and get it all clean, because you won't be using your polytunnel to grow tomatoes in at the moment. They'll be just getting ready to go in there very short, like if you're growing them in your greenhouse first before transplanting them into your polytunnel. So it's a good opportunity to go out and get that polytunnel absolutely spotless and clean. And when you're looking at your polytunnel, just have a look around at all the seams on it where the plastic is, where it was originally folded, because looking at mine's been up 16 years now, and some of the seams are starting to split. And I've invested in some polytunnel tape. It's special polytunnel tape, which is strong, it's waterproof, and it does the job, and it holds it really tight. And if you get on top of the rip before it starts to spread, you can save yourself a hell of a lot of money in replacing that skin by just repairing it with some polytunnel tape, which will cost you about $9.99. So it saves you in the long term spending about £150 to £200 on a new polytunnel skin for it, and it's certainly something to keep on top of. And just have a look to see if you need to do any repairs to your sheds or your polytunnels and greenhouses, because all that sort of stuff needs doing. And it's sometimes you put these jobs off and you wish you never did it. If it's a bad day and you just get that bit of wind and it just pulls that polytunnel skin off and rips it, or pulls out that glass what were loose, and yeah, you certainly don't want to not do the jobs that need doing. Another good job to do at this time of year is go through all your seeds. If you've got a big collection like I have, go through them all, check what dates are on them and stuff like that, because you could have been saving seeds for years and they could be well past the sell by date. Yes, seeds will store and you've got every chance of them growing, but if you've got multiple packets of the same seeds and the seeds are ready for going, either sow them or get rid of them and get the fresh seeds ready for growing. Just sort them all out into months of when you need to sow them all and bits and bobs like that. And if you've got an allotment diary, write down all the seeds when you've been sowing them and when you planted them and stuff like that, because it's good to look back on in next year's time and see when you planted stuff, and then you know how successful it was. Even write down the temperature when you planted them and what the weather was like, because it's good to look back on what you did the previous years and how well it did. Like, I could have sown them this time last year and it could have been a massive heat wave, and that's the reason why they germinated at this time of year. But obviously if I sowed them now, which I did, I only sowed them the other day, then it turned absolutely freezing, so my seeds won't germinate for a few weeks now until it gets warmer again. So just make notes like that on what you need to do, and then have a look around your plot and draw a plan while you're sat in your shed having your brew. Write down where you want to grow stuff and how you want to grow it, and just start a jobs list off, as there's still plenty of jobs what can be done at this time of year. There's not much planting outside that can be done. You don't want to be planting stuff outside until the chance of frost has passed. So get yourself a plan and write down some jobs what need doing, whether you want to build that extra bed on the plot, or whether you want to do some painting to treat your wooden beds and raised beds and stuff like that, or whether you're wanting to try out a new vegetable or a new fruit that you've always wanted. Write it down on a list, create an Amazon shopping list, and then just keep buying these little bits as you're going along throughout the year. And that's what I tend to do. If it's raining, I'll be inside my shed or my polytunnel, just sitting down, making notes, thinking about what I'm going to be doing on the allotment and all the jobs that need doing. And that's how I keep on top of stuff. I have a look around my plot and I make notes of all the jobs that need doing, and as I get them done I tick them off, because then you know you've done them and you can move on to the next jobs. I never make the list too hard or too complicated that I never get a chance to get them done. So always think about not overcomplicating things when you're doing an allotment as well. And yeah, just have a look around and see what you can do to improve it, or how. And I've been talking a lot about wildlife and attracting the wildlife to the plot, have a think about how you can get some bees coming to your allotment. Think about that flower bed area and where you can be growing some flowers, and where you can encourage the birds to your plot, or think about what flowers you can grow to attract the butterflies. Or if you've got a corner that's hidden away, have a think about having a pond. It doesn't have to necessarily be a proper pond. It can be a box in the ground with some water in and a brick in, just so that to let the froggies climb out and stuff like that, just to attract them frogs, so that they'll help eat the slugs at night. So if you do your little bit in encouraging the wildlife to your plot, you can help keep the slug population down on your plot just by doing these extra little bits. And a lot of allotmenters won't grow flowers in the plot, they'll just end up growing vegetables and fruit and stuff like that. But just adding that extra bit of colour to the plot will certainly improve it, and it'll certainly attract the bees and the insects and the butterflies. And adding that extra bit of colour as well, because obviously when you're growing vegetables and fruit, it all just tends to be a green colour. There's not many colourful vegetables out there. Obviously you've got your like pumpkins and stuff like that, but a lot of it will be green. Try and think about adding some colour to the plot and ways and means that you can do that. And yeah, over the next few episodes we're going to be talking more about how to grow certain vegetables and how to grow certain fruits, and how you can do your bit improving your allotment. So if you do enjoy these podcasts, please do give it a subscribe and give it a share on Instagram. If you're listening on Spotify, you can click that share button and it'll post it to people, to your Instagram story, and tag me in it as well. And I'm always happy for people to share it and tag me and stuff, because it helps spread the word on gardening. And I want to encourage more and more people to do gardening, and that's my mission in life, getting more and more people growing fruit and vegetables. Anyone can grow fruit and vegetables, whether you've got a small space, whether you've got no garden, whether you've got a massive garden, whether you've got an allotment, or whether you've just got a yard in the house. There's always ways and means of growing fruit and vegetables, and different types of methods, and that's what I'm going to be encouraging over the years to come, to encourage more and more people to get involved in doing it and just doing your little bits, because it tastes so much better growing your own vegetables. You can't believe the difference in taste things are when you grow your own stuff. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Do check out my other podcast called Gardening with Ben. It's on every platform going, and that's my main channel. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. So until the next episode, remember to keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcasts.